official gavel, City Hall colored phone. I'd like to thank everyone for showing up to my first day of the city. I'd like everyone to note that this is being held after hours for the first time in recent memory. So let me just start off. Last year, the city had to use $1.25 million to continue funding daily operations. The first 5 major reasons for this were rising healthcare insurance, the freak $400,000 snowstorm that happened on December 1st, a reduction in state aid, $250,000 in outsourced legal expenses, and rising pension costs. I'm going to start with my departments. The legal department. We have a city attorney that is keeping as much work as possible in-house. This must be the way because the large outsourcing that has happened in the past has severely set back our city financially. Typically, I'm the first one to City Hall and the last to leave. The city attorney is typically the second last person to leave here. Regarding development, the director of development and I have had more trips to County Hall in the last 9 weeks than perhaps in the last administration's 8 years. We've been working very closely with County Executive Poloncarz and his administration, and with our county legislator, Lynn Dixon, and with his administration on many different fronts. Most directly, we are working closely with the Commissioner of Environment Planning, Maria White, to advance with land banking a process of selling unpurchased foreclosed properties for $1 and having a not-for-profit organization reinvest and sell these properties, which in turn will put these newly rehabbed homes back on the tax rolls. This is a new idea that the county is getting underway. We are acting quite aggressively. The council president and I just recently left the NICOM convention, and in that convention, I brought up the issue of land banking in front of all the mayors. What I found surprising is that most of the mayors had no idea what we were talking about, and the other half didn't want to discuss it because the governor last year in June authorized 10 land banks to begin, and of those 10, 5 will be handed out March 30th. So everyone is trying to get into the land banking system. So we have been meeting, what is it, Ralph? We've been meeting pretty much every week on Friday at 10 in the County Office of Environment Planning to get our progress moving on this. This is a very big issue. It started in Genesee County, Michigan, and that is the county that Flint, Michigan is in. Flint, Michigan had, I believe, well, number 1 has been voted the worst place to live for the last 10 years in a row, and they had over 30,000 abandoned properties. So they started this idea of land banking. The state is stealing that idea, and the county has aggressively been working towards getting the first round of applications for us. We've also been meeting with the recreated county rodent control officers trying to find solutions to our vector problem. Public safety. The director and I have been working closely on issues regarding the safety of our first responders. Our first step was to put new, unused police vehicles on the road, which have been sitting around for months. The second issue was creating a police fleet maintenance coordinator who would be offered nominal overtime to ensure that there was a set schedule for routine maintenance and ensure that the entire fleet is safe for steady driving. Regarding the fire department, there is a problem. That problem is overtime. While the police were on pace to be under their designated overtime by $10,000, the fire department is on record-breaking pace for overtime, which may exceed $500,000. They are allocated in their budget $300,000 in overtime. They are scheduled to be over by more than $200,000. Our largest week for overtime was when the city was forced to shut down Fire Hall 3. That 2-week period generated more overtime than any 2-week pay period of the fiscal year. This is unacceptable. Also, the State Comptroller's Office is auditing the books from the last 5 years and has concluded that the city must upgrade time tracking and our filing systems with computer software. Most of these are free and will be implemented, and we will be implementing them. I have been working closely with the fire chief and the director of public safety on this issue, and we are getting underway quite quickly on remedying this situation. Public Works, and please excuse me, everyone knows I have a severe cold, so don't mind us. We are seeing a massive savings due to the mild weather of this year. We are also able to utilize the men of the DPW for work done around the city. However, we have been yellow flagged on the Rosary Street Bridge, which requires total replacement of the deck at an estimated cost of $1.5 million. Ingham Avenue is set to be paved. It will cost more than what is currently allocated. We will have to update the fleet in the Public Works Department on many different levels as well. We are interested in seriously considering going to totes for the many benefits that will provide us, particularly in cost savings, in tipping, and the potential for single-stream recycling, all recyclable materials every week. The benefits are, off the top of my head, for using totes, is number one, they look more professional. We will be saving money on tonnage in our tipping fees. Specifically, that we will no longer be throwing out water, as every garbage can will have a permanent lid on it. Whether it's snow or rain, we are throwing that out on a regular basis because most garbage cans nowadays, if they're even being used, are not covered. So we are paying more money to throw into our, to remove our problem, our garbage. Using totes will make it more cleaner. It also will save us money on comp, as people will no longer be breaking their backs. It'll be uniform, everyone has to use it. And quite frankly, this spring, we will probably be having a vector problem of biblical proportions. We have already been addressing them, we've already been noticing them. The rats have been preparing for spring, I guess you might want to say. And it's going to get out of hand if we don't address this immediately. There will be a nominal cost to the taxpayers. However, the benefits in the near and long run will be most beneficial for the city. Let's see. We have met with the DEC and the Army Corps of Engineers to discuss what must be done to alleviate the horrendous flood insurance costs to many of our residents, myself included. What we were told, and in this meeting that was held at the Army Corps of Engineers, and with me was the city attorney, the Commissioner of Public Works, Director of Development, and myself, was that the project has many different avenues, but all avenues are without funding. I was also told that I must reach out to our federal officials to find that needed fund for the dredging and stream stabilization that must be completed to remove us from the list. It is a problem. They showed us 4 different examples of what can be done. The one I'm most interested in is complete redredging and stream correction because that would remove the entire city. The other 3 programs, there was a small concentration in the 2nd Ward that would still fall under the flood insurance, and my house is in that list, so I would really like the whole thing dredged. Recreation. We are losing a very good public servant next month. Angela Iafallo will be retiring, but we are looking to potentially utilize him for a special event in the fall. We lost the grant from Memorial Stadium as it expired the day before I was sworn in, but we decided to continue on, and we were able to utilize the DPW workforce to prepare the field for the work to be done. This was done last month. Normally, we are unable to work our fields until late March or early April. We have a head start, and our field will be premiere by the beginning of the softball field. No, it's not. Season. Sorry, I was asked to correct it. I didn't correct it. You're right. The festival is planned. We have new acts and more fireworks. We will not be having an animal exhibit, which I find cruel. Instead, we reinvested in other acts and events. The bicentennial of the War of 1812 will be hosted in Western New York this fall. Buffalo seems not to be interested in this, while I am. There will be dignitaries from almost every nation in the world arriving. I cannot think of a better way to show off our city and our resources than this. I'm looking to utilize Mr. Iafallo, if interested, in helping as a special coordinator to these events. I have met with Homeland Security. We have met on numerous occasions regarding the bicentennial, and I have to declare that this can be quite large, quite interesting, and the city of Buffalo has decided to show zero interest in supporting any efforts that the Centennial organization that's been in the works for 2 years now, they are not interested in any of their operations or programs. I have then recommended the city of Lackawanna host these events. It'll be interesting because we will have U.S. Navy ships and Canadian ships docked into Lackawanna Bay, the deepwater port. That will be quite interesting and quite, I think, beautiful in the Navy guys. So, the comptroller. The comptroller is reporting that the city will end up with a healthy fund balance of around $4 million. We will be close to our projected budget had the fire department overtime not skyrocketed. Now, goals that were set on day one, some were, we have open communication with the LCDC and the Director of Development and myself have had numerous meetings with them. The update, the LCDC and my office have been fighting to bring in the NRP homes. These are rent-to-own homes that will bring tax dollars and home ownership to our neighborhoods. This was a program that the city has reached out after. I know Ms. Haxton, good timing, was interested in this program last year, as was the city of Lackawanna. At first I was hesitant until I did some further research and found that there are towns throughout this country who are fighting to get these homes. They are rent-to-own homes, but they will be exclusive in the first ward only. There will be a 15-year rent-to-own program. After those 15 years, you will have the option to buy your home at a much reduced price. The benefits are we add more homes to the first ward, which is something that the president of the tenant council of the housing authority has brought to me, that they want to show that people can actually own their homes. It also show that we are fixing up all neighborhoods throughout the city. We are interviewing for new grant writers next week. We hired a lobbyist so that we can have more voices fighting for us in both Albany and Washington, D.C. This has had some minor criticism, and I can understand why. It is new, it is fresh, and I don't think any other municipality has really done this of our size. But I will explain why I thought this was important. I had a conversation with some of our delegates, and I was interested in having some legislation moved in Albany. I was told by pretty much both members that they are the freshman members of the minority party of both branches, and therefore everything is a long shot. By hiring a lobbyist, the city will have more voices fighting for us, and also they have offices in Washington, D.C. And I was quite upset with those answers, I'm going to tell you. The new website is up and running. There are some snags that we're working on, but it is fresh, new, and exhilarating. It is informative and easy to use as well. This was something that anyone who used our last website knows it was functional, it was usable, but it wasn't very exciting or inviting, and we wanted to just simply freshen it up. We are still working on some snags, such as we are working on the new mandate for the city council meetings, but we are moving on with that, and we will be getting that underway. Upgrades at Memorial Field are underway. Met with the county executive and numerous members of his administration and our county legislator in order to have a good working relationship between all the parties. The 1033 Pentagon program for police equipment is something that me and the public safety director have been working on since day one. This is a program in which you can purchase surplus military equipment at if not for free, at a very, very reasonable cost. And you can buy anything from paper clips to helicopters, literally, and anything in between. I was more interested in such programs as upgraded bulletproof vests and shields and perhaps vehicles. Let's see. We also had a savings of $50,000 by creating a new captain. By having that, we had to delete a lieutenant and a detective. The lieutenant was deleted upon advancement, and the detective was an unfilled position, so no one was relieved of their duties. The Martin Road project has had plenty of attention from my administration. However, we are treading carefully to ensure that the next stages will be correct. Interesting, because we've brought in some people who we thought might be able to help us with developing that area. We've also brought in the homeowners to see what they are willing to bend and what they must, and in their view, we must keep. This was supposed to be a new housing project that is for, I guess we'll say, upscale homes, and they do not want the idea of that altered in any way. So, we've met with Homeland Security to discuss and lost opportunities under the past administrations. More meetings to come. We are looking to upgrade playground funds on a systematic scale. I believe now, as I have before, that the equipment used today is the same severely outdated equipment used when I was a child. This must change. I will be touring other senior centers throughout the county with Representative Alex Belai in order to see how other senior centers are run and with what programs that they are used or are utilizing. I'm looking to see what can also be altered in a fresh manner for the senior center. Going door to door, a lot of them had a lot of suggestions. We are trying to implement them now, but I want to see how other programs are run and see how smooth they can go. As a resident of the Second Ward, I would like to see the City Council appoint someone to the position of Second Ward Councilman to fill the seat I held for 6 years. I would prefer them to appoint someone who is not interested in running for election later on this year, but rather as a placeholder who was informed of Second Ward issues and parliamentary procedure. This country is based on representation, and my ward at this time does not have any. I will continue to field constituent complaints and concerns, but there is no voice on the budget or on passing laws from the Second Ward at this time. In government, ties lose, and when this happens, the residents and taxpayers also lose. What I mean by that is a 2-2 tie in regards to receive and file or motion to approve, the item fails. You cannot move it. And that is, it can't become a question. Finally, I would like to congratulate Chris Gable from Keever Street. This past weekend, Chris became a state champion in individual bowling. Congratulations to Chris for his hard work and dedication to his sport. I wish him good luck on his baseball tryouts this week. It's not too often we get to commend someone for such a strong event, but I don't think we've ever had a state champion bowler before, and he's only 3 blocks from my house, so I'm very happy for him. So, with that, I wish to thank everyone for coming here, and I will see you in the hallway.
You taking questions?
What if you want, Andrea?